You're the first female CEO of VWV Group. What were the most significant leadership lessons you learned during that time?
Thank you for the question. So first female CEO of VWV Group, first female CEO of Publicis Group Africa. So I've been really incredibly fortunate to hold the leadership position that not only shaped my career, but also affirmed my purpose. And what's guided me throughout is a deep connection to my values and moral compass. They've grounded me in moments of both challenge and triumph. And also, I think, being so fast paced, I've also learned to live in the moment, taught me a lot to live in the moment and take things one step at a time. I've also learned that confidence is key, that if I believe in something, I need to really go for it. And it doesn't mean compromising who I am. The one thing I learned being in a boardroom, I always go in prepared, present. And in fact, I've really embraced and celebrated my femininity throughout the journey. It's not a strength, it's something that I own because God created me as a woman and I need to celebrate that as a woman. And the other thing is also having a safe, honest tribe of people around me has been invaluable. And those are the people that share the same values as me and also help and shape and mold me because it's so important to have people that can have honest conversations with you in terms of saying, Koo, that's wrong, or you should do more of this or less of this, and maybe stop this. So those are the mentors and peers who have guided me in real safe space and real conversations. And above all, my purpose has always been clear, to see more women seated around the boardroom table, but also, most importantly, to see the development, empowerment, and upliftment of our youth in South Africa. And for me, the youth in South Africa is our future. So therefore, we really need to invest in our youth and be inspirational as leaders towards our youth. And this is the vision that drives me every single day. This is the vision that gets me up every single morning to say, I have a purpose, and this is a legacy that I want to leave to young women and to young men of South Africa.
In your current role at Publicis Group Africa, how do you drive innovation and creativity across diverse markets on the African continent?
That's a very good question. So driving innovation and creativity across Africa really starts with recognizing our greatest strength is our diversity. Our diversity is a fabric that puts all of us together. Every market has its own rhythm, different cultures, different challenges, different opportunities, and that does not mean one size fits all approach. It doesn't work. We all got to lean towards each other in terms of what our different cultures and strengths are that makes us a great continent. So driving back to who Publicis Groupe Africa is, Publicis Groupe Africa, we really focus on empowering our local teams. They are the ones that are closest to the consumers on the ground. So we encourage them to lead with insight, experiment boldly, to share what's working across borders, creating a powerful collaboration. But we as Publicis, we also help to empower them in terms of best practices across the continent and across the world as well. And to me, it's all about innovation. It's about the latest tech. It's about mindset. And as I said before, we prioritize upskilling, inclusivity, creative bravery. We also work very closely with our clients with regards to co-creating ideas that are both culturally meaningful and business effective, but also very tactical and resonates with that particular country or community. And ultimately, we lead with empathy, adapt with agility, and we always keep purpose at the center because in Africa, the most impactful creativity is that kind that is deeply relevant and it resonates with the communities and with our people.
The Publicis Group operates globally. How do you adapt global strategies to meet the unique needs of African clients?
So at Publicis, we're really fortunate to tap into global thinking, best practices, but success in Africa means going far beyond that. We just don't translate campaigns, we localize them in the journey that resonates. And at Publicis Group Africa, as being the CEO, we believe in long time or long life learning. We're continuously learning from our global peers as well. And this starts with understanding the cultural context, using local languages, embracing mobile first behaviors, and even adapting to how people transact and engage digitally. African consumers are incredibly diverse and digitally advanced, and it's our job to reflect that in everything that we do. We rely heavily on local content and local talent, and they are the ones that bring insights, nuances, and authenticity, and no global playbook can replicate that. But what we could do is we could learn from the global playbooks and basically localize it. And in South Africa, we say local is really lekker. And I think it's so important to bring it down to localism as well.
What are the key trends in digital marketing and communications in Africa that young entrepreneurs should be aware of?
I think the young entrepreneurs should be teaching us the digital marketing trends and not the other way around. But there's so much of energy and innovation in Africa's digital space right now. And one of the biggest trends is the mobile first mindset of most people here. We experience the internet throughout their phones. So if your brand or business isn't mobile optimized, you're already a step behind. And I've got young kids who are in their mid to late 20s. I watch trends through them. So we're also seeing the rise of platforms like WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram. Those are trends. And more importantly, the rise of local content creators who are shaping cultures in real time. The other trend is all our, our influencers. For young entrepreneurs, the opportunity is huge to even be an influencer. So my advice to our young entrepreneurs would be local in tune, mobile first in design, authentic in voice, data smart in execution, and also create content in vernacular languages. Tell stories that feel real, that is really authentic, that people will actually identify with, will actually learn from. Tools like WhatsApp Business and mobile payment integrations to meet your audiences where they really are. And short format video and strong and compelling storytelling will take you far, especially when it's rooted in local insights. And for me, an older person, I would say there's so much to learn from our youth because they've got so much to tell us that we really don't know. And we should also have that mindset of reverse mentoring as well.
As a prominent female leader, what initiative have you championed to improve diversity and inclusion within your organization?
That's very close to my heart. And when you speak about purpose, initially before we started the recording that's one of my purpose as a female leader. As a female leader, I really want to see more people of color and females seated around the boardroom table, but more people of color and females also rising up the rank. And I've made it a priority to ensure diversity and inclusion are just not values on a paper. They're not part of a tick box of a BE exercise. I completely disagree with that. We, as leaders of South Africa, have to do the right thing. So I'll speak very quickly about our initiatives. One of the initiatives that I'm particularly proud of is championing something at Publicis where it's called Langelihle, which business resource group that supports LGBTQ plus professionals and allies across the group. We've also launched mentorship programs specifically to design and support, accelerate Black female talent and also youth within our network. When I speak about youth, another initiative that's really close to my heart is the Le Cubs and Learnership Program. It creates opportunities for young people from disadvantaged communities to enter creative industry through internships, mentorships, and hands-on experience. And for me also, I mentor close to 10 women. There's a lot of students that come in that are studying final year, third year university who say, we'd love to do job shadowing at Publicis. And we're so open to that experience. And already there are a few students who have already signed up for job shadowing at Publicis as well.
It's
This
incredible
is a
work you're
real
doing.
passion to me.
I know I've done my research about your work. It's very incredible. What advice would you give, or would you offer young professionals aspiring to build careers in advertising and communications?
So I would say, in terms of the advice that I would give to the young individuals is firstly, know that you have a passion for marketing, advertising, and communications. And marketing, communications, and advertising is really something you grow into. You have the opportunity to learn within the agency perspective. You have the opportunity to learn about clients. You have the opportunity to learn about consumers. What are consumers doing? So there's so many different facets to it. There's a lot of insights. There's a lot of understanding of data scientists. There's a lot of understanding of trends. So, depending on where you want to be, do you want to be in a media agency? Do you want to be in a communication agency, which is creative? Do you want to be in a production agency? So, as a young, aspiring student, you got to decide where you want to be. But the opportunities are amazing in this industry. It's a fun industry. At my age, I learn something new every single day. And for me, the most important thing is making an impact to your consumers by being a purpose-driven brand, also being a purpose-driven person.
What drives your passion every day in leading one of the continent's largest communications group? I think you've answered that question.
I did.
Yes. So
So no,
last
no,
one,
no.
can you?
I'll tell you. I can share this with you again. What drives me every day is the opportunity that, to live out my purpose and build a legacy that matters. I'm really deeply passionate about creating spaces where people feel seen, heard, empowered, and have a sense of belonging, especially in the industry as ours. Leading Publicis Group means I don't get to shape brands or work with brands or help brands find solutions. For me, it's nurturing young talent, driving meaningful work that reflects our continent's voice, or pushing more inclusive leadership, seeing our youth empowered, seeing our women empowered. It all ties in back to my purpose. And I always have this philosophy, and I've said this for many, many years, and I live it. My life is just not about success. It's about significance. And I say this to my kids as well. It's not about how many business accolades I've won. It's about how many people's lives I've touched in a meaningful way and an impactful way.
Last question, before we close off, can you share an experience where you overcame significant challenges in your career and what have you learned?
Sure, that's a loaded question. So, one of my biggest challenges I faced in my career was how to navigate constant pressure of always being on. This meant was, I need to find a balance between my life. And I've lived previously in a life of autopilot. Sometimes I do, but I try and bring myself to say, Koo, you're living in autopilot. There's so much other things that you need to do in terms of living in the presence, juggling deadlines, traveling, meetings, and also sacrificing moments that really mattered. And I think that's my family. And the challenges that was the biggest challenge is um, juggling work and balance. How do you live this life of work life and family life? And I have an analogy of a crystal ball. And I'll tell you what this analogy is, an analogy of the crystal ball and the rubber ball. The crystal ball, if it shatters, it completely breaks. It's very difficult to put into pieces. And that's how I put it. That crystal ball is my family. It's my friends and my tribe. The rubber ball is my career. If it drops, it's going to bounce back. And I think that's the way, and even raising two kids, it was always spending quality with them and not the quantity, because I had to be a present mom. And I think the turning point in my life came because I was constantly on this career trajectory and wanting to give off the best. The turning point came after the loss of my husband 3.5 years ago. It was the most painful, world-shattering experience that I ever had. But what I had to do was I needed to overcome. I'm still overcoming grief, but I needed to show up for my children. I needed to show up for my work. And that's the lesson that I learned from that, is to be constantly present, to constantly live moment by moment, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but live in the present and making memories for the present.
Thank you so much for making your time to have a privilege to have a conversation with a typical young African from Doba Doba.
Thank you. It's only my pleasure. Absolute pleasure.